Now to the case of a New York City man who's facing charges for killing an intruder who broke into his apartment and then tried to rape his wife. Diallo's wife says there was an intruder who walked around a hallway knocking on doors of their apartment building. She thought it was their child. She let him in. This happened in the Bronx. He then threatened to rape her. She offered him money to leave, and he responded by saying, quote, "I don't want money. I'm going to rape you." Well, finally, Diallo's wife managed to get free from that man. She called her husband, who was just outside looking for a parking spot at the time, thankfully. And that's when police say Diallo ran inside the apartment where he found that intruder and then beat him to death with a tire iron in the building elevator. Eric Guster is a criminal defense attorney. Richard St. Paul is a former prosecutor and criminal defense attorney. Our viewers seeing this, I can imagine, while no one wants a loss of life for anyone, our viewers would say, you know, this man did the right thing in trying to defend his wife.
There is not a jury in America who would convict this man of anything. I had a case very similar to this where a man was defending his sister. He shot him. The man got off because juries can sympathize with a person who walks in, who got a call saying, I'm being attacked, I'm being raped, and you see the guy. There is not anyone in our country who would actually defend this and say this man deserves any punishment.
Now, what's the guy supposed to do? Just pick up the phone, call 911, and wait for police to arrive as his wife's raped? And right in front of him?
The legal theory, perhaps. But just like what we were just talking about, the prosecution had the duty to, they have to do an arrest. And this is something that the judicial system must sort out. Either the judge could possibly dismiss it, or they may have to put it in front of a jury for a jury to decide whether or not this was reasonable at the time. Because prosecutors, they do have a lot of leeway with dealing with cases, but they also must make sure that they protect the rights of even the deceased person, although it's believed that he was doing something wrong.
So a lot of times there are mitigating circumstances in a case such as this. A crime of passion could reduce your sentence. So explain how that could come into play here.
Mitigating circumstances, the man gets a call. Mr. Diallo gets a call from his wife. She's screaming, she's frantic. He comes in there, sees her bleeding on the floor in the hallway. She points out the guy. That's him. Is he supposed to let the guy go who just tried to rape his wife, who harmed his wife? Who in America, as Eric said, who in America is going to say he didn't do the right thing by going after this guy? Now, the thing is, they both start fighting with each other. And so that's the assault in the third degree. And the question would be, is Mr. Diallo defending himself at the time that the assailant is now attacking him?
So from what we know, what do you two think about that? Was he defending himself, or was he just going after the guy?
Look, I haven't seen the surveillance, but I think there's a great argument that can be made under the mitigating circumstances, given what was happening at that moment, that he was defending himself.
Eric, could the charges be dropped against him altogether?
They can be dropped. And the prosecution will have a determination factor where they can say, well, we're going to drop these charges, we're not going to pursue them, because they're still investigating this case. But much like what Richard just said, he was defending himself at the elevator, and there's a circumstance where he was defending his wife as well, which that is going to be one of their legal theories that the defense is going to put up. And
we should mention her sister-in-law was also in the apartment at the time, so she could have been in danger as well. This guy has a long criminal record, an attempted kidnapping and other charges against him, and convictions as well.
And that attempted kidnapping, that's what's going to be one of the sticklers, because he had some other little petty charges, but when you have an attempted kidnapping, now an alleged rape, that's going to come into play when you're looking at these cases.
Really serious. That happening in the Bronx just earlier this week, so expect we'll hear more about that case. A lot of people care about property rights and especially protecting their families.
Absolutely.
Gentlemen, thank you. Thanks
you.
a lot. Great having you on.